lovely grab out.
Welcome everybody here to Monday evening at the University of Limerick, Europe's primary sporting campus. I am Lorcan Murray and I'm joined by Lou Burgess Yo for this wonderful closing game to the largest pool in the mixed division, as we're going to watch the Czech Republic take on that powerhouse of the Germans. Lou, what are you looking forward to?
Well, Germany obviously coming into this tournament tipped as a potential medalist, potential winning team even, and they've had a fantastic start to the tournament so far, winning all their games, including that Universe Point match which we streamed on the first day. Conditions of course today much better than we saw that day, and Germany, chatting to them before the game, said they're looking for a much cleaner deep game today compared to what they showed us in the opening game. Not sure what to expect from the Czechs though.
Well, the Czechs aren't expecting themselves to unrealistically, shall we say, but they are certainly here to fight, to learn and continue to grow as a team, as they have done all season long since their first competitive tournament in Windmill. The Czechs are currently sitting in third in this group, which is the position that they wanted to hold onto. They were able to beat Norway and Belgium, but fell in rather convincing fashion to Ireland. So hoping to push themselves and push the Germans as far as they can. And the pole goes up. The Czech Republic will be starting this game on offense, centering it to the middle immediately. Ryzach down the line to Fischer. Fischer gets it back to Ryzach, who immediately looks to send it deep to Fischer, trying to isolate that space. Lots of people in the way, but big heads up block and defense. Fantastic stuff out of Blechler. Sorry, out of Wiedenau. And Germans going straight back at them, and a nice heads up defensive play by Levac. So early on, two big shots, two big Ds.
Yeah, good. The start that Germany wanted on defense for sure, but it's not the conversion they were looking for.
So once more, the Czechs go back at it. Levac launching deep, trying to arc it into the path and the waiting arms of Ziznik. Ziznik is able to get the pop off to Fischer, right in front of the end zone. Searching, goes for the hammer over the top. Why not? You got to throw it all out when you're taking on the Germans. And the offensive hold, Ziznik getting the score.
Wow, what a start from the Czechs. They're here to play, putting up big shots and coming down with them. Bit surprised to see Germany turn over so easily on their first break opportunity, but the Czechs will take it.
Sometimes you think if you're going to the hammer outside the end zone, it's because everything else is being shut down. Do you think that's what happened there, Lou, or correct decision at the correct time?
Well, when the defense is all on one side, particularly against the forehand force, the hammer is the hard counter to it, and there was space on that side of the end zone, so why not go for it?
I feel like why not go for it is something everyone should consider when thinking about the hammer. Don't think about it, just send it. And it seems like the Czechs have come out here to send it as much as they can.
So Germany coming into this tournament with what some have described as the best D-line in the event. They get the block, but not being able to convert the turn is a bit of a surprise.
Let's see how they do going on the offensive side. Holzer immediately centers it to Hugen. And Hugen back into Holzer. Big empty space directly in front of him. So they're trying to isolate Cutters. Czechs doing a really good job of staying with them physically. And there's the big shot going deep. A battle on one end, position gained, and bouncing out of the hands. Metzger would probably want that one back.
I was convinced Metzger was going to get there. Had position, went up well, but just bounced out of the fingers.
So the Czechs with a chance to get a break and turning both Yo and D-line of Germany.
Well, Germany said they were looking for a cleaner deep game in this game than previous games, especially with the lighter wind conditions. That's not the start they were looking for.
Well, let's see if it is the start the Czechs dared not dream of. Quick play and getting off the mark rapidement. Shifnerova down the line, tempted by the deep shot. There's points from the cutters, but not going to be baited into it. Jurasek centers. A nice throw around. Waiting for it was Gerner. It's a quick play by the Czechs against this match defense. Inside break, very nicely done. And they're working it down the pitch.
Impressive stuff.
Really playing the disc back and forth between each other quite effectively. Jurasek with the leading pass down to the end zone. They're within the red zone. Another hammer over the top. If it worked once, why not go back to the well? 2-0 to the Czech Republic.
Well, I don't think anyone had their money on this start from the Czechs. Germany coming in as heavy favourites in this game, but they are down 2-0. A hold and a break for the Czech Republic. 2 hammers out of 2. And this expansive Czech offense is getting the job done. Good sit-down spike. Love that.
A little bit concerned about his tailbone, but
I think the ground's soft enough.
that's a benefit of the rain. It is perfect layout conditions, as Benji Reed was pointing out earlier on.
I heard some players in the queue for coffee earlier saying exactly the same thing.
So a perfect time to lay it all out there. The Czech Republic 2-0 up. Limerick taking on that hammer across, and well, they're building themselves a bit of a lead.
Yeah, I was not expecting a clean conversion from the Czechs. I thought this German O-line would have the defensive prowess to get the disc back, but the Czechs played so well at that point. Playing without fear as well, these hammers in the end zone. That's what you need to do against the better teams at this event.
So let's see if the Germans can improve at their second time of asking. Still saying shallow right now. Valcek wants the quick backhand scoop to Preen. And down the line, starting to work through their women from the cutter. Valcek cycling across to Preen, who had to get pretty high to grab that one. The lesser player might have seen it go, and a pop over the top for the score. Oh, and there's a bobble and a turnover, so couldn't corral it in the end.
Wow. 2 0 points for Germany, 2 turnovers in the end zone.
I thought not the easiest of passes to catch from Kuschel, but I thought Trautmann would be able to get onto it.
I also expected Germany to be a little calmer outside the end zone. They've certainly got the talent to keep that disc alive.
Could have gone with a scuba as well. I feel like that's always worth mentioning. Pinova. The Czechs are going to have to work very hard to get separation. Fighting and trying to find any. Stall count's getting high, and that was a great break, bobbled but corralled in the end. Shifnerova able to take it and pop it back. So under pressure, there's the big shot up. It's blading. Nice awareness, great turnaround and catch. Nobody in the end zone, marking all on her own. And collected by Preen, close that gap very effectively. Showing off the prowess, and there's the shot the other way. Trautmann's going to have to chase it down, but it always looked like a bit too far in the end.
Well, what a possession from the Czechs. I was convinced they were going to score that one, but they get it back.
Magnac. Is it back across? Batushek. And just thought about that one for a bit too long. Winds up flicking it straight into the ground. Preen. Valcek. The Initial cut from Metzger, able to get it. Or Hugen, sorry, and just throws it outside of the range. So the Germans misfiring on all cylinders.
Not sure what's happened to them. They have been so good all tournament long. Maybe not quite nailing their warm-up routine for this game. Maybe coming into it just a little bit too lackadaisical.
We'll see how the Czechs can respond. They've had a few shots at this one with varying success. That is not an easy throw. But Dušek wants another deep shot, sends it. Great grab under pressure. Sarova able to reset eventually, not forcing anything. Shifnarova. But Dušek, and it bounces off his hand. Can he get it on the second ask? Going by body language as the tent is currently blocking it. No.
Czechs really need to be putting these opportunities in.
Especially if they're going to pull off the huck part, which a lot of people would say is the more difficult part. Holzer sends a huck himself, looking for Preen underneath the disc, and a comfortable clap catch in the end. But it took a long time to get there.
Yeah, that is not an encouraging point for this German O-line. They took way too many chances, really. Multiple turnovers in the end zone. It's not what they're looking for. So we get another look at this deep shot. Really nicely put out into space. And Preen able to box out. Make nice, easy two-handed catch in the end zone. So Germany get their first point on the board, but not in the way they would have liked.
You talked about a clean, deep game. That final look was pretty clean, but had to drag themselves through the mud to get there.
Yeah, several massive missed opportunities for the Czech side. They got two possessions where they completed the huck against this German defense, but not able to get the final pass into the end zone, which fundamentally is the only one you really need.
So Hönschmau with the big pull. Is that going to land in bounds? Just outside. Rzach. He's going to pick it up, walk to the brick mark. Rzach wants a deep shot immediately himself. He's looking for Zink. Trying to get there. Second chance opportunity goes begging. Hönschmau is in the area and put a lot of pressure on the reception.
Thinking about the call.
I think it's more a matter of I got tripped and it stopped my second bid opportunity, but it would have taken something truly sensational, so he retracts.
Yeah, the disc was quite far after the first tip.
So Hönschmau. And a classic 3-4 from the Germans. An immediate inside break cut. Normally that's just a clearing cut from the first movement in a 3-4. Hönschmau launches one, looking downfield, trying to find Venderholm. It's floating a long time, lots of people underneath it. Great grab by the Czechs. And they go back in the other direction. Lihotzka almost puts it outside of the lengthy range of Fischer, and Fischer tries to shoot downfield himself. But well D'd up on the other end by Joanna Erdmann.
Yeah, I like the aggression of this Czech offense. They're playing expansive ultimate. They're putting it up, but Germany getting the better of them at this point.
Koschnitzky, the gravity got the better of hers. That one goes outside of the range of her intended receiver, Toussaint. So now Riznik was walking to it, but is going to walk away. Levach instead picks it up right in front of the end zone. The hold available for the Czechs, goes for the break, it's arcing, it's above his receiver, perhaps a bit too casual.
Yeah, Czechs need to be putting these opportunities in. That's such good field position. Can't be wasting possession there.
They're giving the Germans time to find their feet against them. Koschnitzky. The break far over to the opposite side, and Venderholm. Back into Koschnitzky. Stülert. Hönschmau. We've seen him launch one already. Wasn't the happiest with it this time. Back to Koschnitzky. Oh, and that's a fantastic inside break to Stülert. Shoots for the end zone. And in the end, it's a comfortable catch for Tim Baumgart.
Well, once again, Germany give up the disc a couple of times, but they get the job done. Level the score. Take another look at this shot. Really nice throw. Very easy for the receiver to read. Love to see a huck with a clap catch in the end zone. You know the throwers done their job well.
I love to clap catch hucks in the end zone, because then I don't have to try and do anything too complicated. And right now, the Germans making things more complicated than they need to, Lou.
Yeah, they will not be happy with how they've started this game. They've been turning over a lot more than we expected. Remember, the conditions are pretty favorable for this game. Temperature is about bang on for playing. Slight breeze coming from right to left, but nothing really to phase these throwers. So we've seen plenty of deep shots into the wind, such as that previous one.
And I like the fact they seem to be setting them up into the middle of the pitch and then putting a little bit of blade on them, so it's only got about halfway left to go. So at what point does a huck become a leading pass, or vice versa? I always think it needs to be more than half the length of the pitch to be considered a huck.
It's not a bad definition. Well, I feel like it does depend a bit on the ability of the thrower. If you can control it from brick mark to end zone, and that's casual for you, then it's not really a huck, is it? It's just a casual lead pass.
I know very few people capable of that, but a couple of them are on these teams. Zach immediately sends it to Levac. Levac launches, trying to find that far corner. Collected just outside it. Fischer able to get the pop in. Quite the response from Czech.
Once again, they go for the deep game. Not the prettiest of... I think we can call that one a huck. I think it's safe to say that was just yeeted out of the hand. Here's the reception, caught just on the end zone line.
Really great stuff from Fischer to track that down without losing its balance.
Quick little pop pass into the end zone. Kutner.
Great chase as well from Kutner to make themselves available.
I often tell the players that I coach to hunt the glory, hunt the score. No one remembers the thrower. The camera zooms in on the person that catches it, not the person who throws it. So don't try and be the hero and throw the score. Be the hero and take all the glory for yourself. Go catch the goal. Follow your teammates.
Chase every disc. I was told that by a lot of coaches who I respected, and hustle is going to be a real defining factor in the normally unpredictable conditions. Right now things are a little calmer than usual, but no reason to take it easy, as here come Germany, hoping to settle themselves down, maybe get a clean hold. They haven't had one yet in this game, as opposed to the Czechs. Just got one there. Bruns. Holzer. Valcek. Wanted Holzer initially. Goes to him on the second look. And spreading it across, so the Germans not forcing anything too significant. And the Czechs happy to throw themselves around and try and limit their options. Valcek. Shirovna. Got a hard assignment. Big bid, excellent block, incredible stuff. The Czechs will not go gently.
Read that play like a book and got horizontal.
Limerick with the big time play. Now Holub in the dump position, so can they cash it in? Ilishka Shtinorova just about tries to lead the pass, but it's a bit too far, and the Germans are right back to business on the end zone line. Unfortunately for the Czechs, they are getting the turns. Nice little inside dish. Metzger gets the pop off. 2 Prunes for the score.
Yeah, turns are good, but The only stat that matters is goals. So again, the Czechs making plays. Germany trying to force some shots into the end zone, but not coming off them. Let's take another look at this bid.
That was the goal. David Metzger to Svenja Pruns.
It's more like the calm end zone offense we were expecting from Germany. Forcing them into these tight IO spaces is fine if there's no defender there, but at least they didn't overthrow it out the side of the end zone like on the previous points. The Czechs at least had to make a play, but still, this Germany O-line yet to convert without turning over.
It was an incredible defensive play.
Unfortunately for the Czechs, they did have pretty poor field position after the turnover and unable to get much done with it.
So it sails all the way down into the end zone, but the Czechs are quick enough out of it. Kutna scored the last point. Gives it back to Lavach, and Lavach launches it. He likes to send it. He's got plenty of targets on this O-line who he trusts, and that's exactly why. Quick pop back to Fischer. And now they're right outside the end zone again. The Huck's definitely on for the Czech Republic right now. Lavach able to get free, and there's the quick pop, but maybe he moved it too quickly. And it's a turnover.
This is such an unfortunate play. Just rushed the throw ever so slightly. It pops up into the wind, and Germany get the block.
And the quick restart. Looking to work their way down the pitch. Venderholm doesn't want the deep shot, takes the available under in the form of Baumgart, who does want the deep shot, absolutely launches it, looking for Hönschmeier. A clap, catch, cut collection.
Well, what a response from Germany. The Czechs can put it deep, but so can the Germans. Phenomenal throw, and again, clap catch in the end zone. So we see how that throw is set up. Nice little slash across the side. Not a pure power position. His momentum wasn't going fully towards the end zone. Defender wasn't really behind him, but had enough space to get out the hook. And then well run down by Tobin Hönschmeier.
4-3 to Germany. They started off 2-0 down, but quickly corrected it with a pair of braces to make it 2-2, then the hold, and then another 2. And now you have to worry if you're a Czech fan. By the way, Czech team wanted to send out a big wave and thank you to all the fans back home supporting them. They didn't want to give any specific shout-outs, just everybody in general. But right now, there's got to be a little bit of fear wrapping around your heart, as the Germans are in danger of getting rolling. Here comes the big pull over the top. And floating down. Collected and centered. Rizach. Fischer. Back into the middle, waiting for it. Lichocka. Down the line, this is again the Czechs really putting in good work. Coming back, proper fakes, running hard, and there's the shot to the end zone, looking for Fischer or Lichocka. There's plenty of people down there, and Fischer gets huge to take it down.
A little bit discussion about whether or not it's in, but the goal has been signaled. Again, fantastic, expansive play from the Czechs. Great run down from Fischer. And good catch in the end zone to finish it off. Czechs are keeping this closer than I think we expected.
And when we were preparing for it, there was always that danger the Germans would just start strong and continue as such, but the Czechs have been able to match them. And right now, the guns are drawn for both teams with big shots coming off. And some fantastic grabs.
This is a bit of a trust shot from the Czechs as well, as Fischer was by no means open. Wasn't even the deepest receiver for the Czechs when that throw went up, but they know their receivers.
Do you think they were maybe looking for Lihotzka initially and Fischer just happened to be heading that direction anyway?
Well, it certainly looks that way from the replay. She was the deepest player, and then Fischer just got involved at the end. As we were saying earlier, keep up with your teammates.
Crucial part of the game, working together as here come the Germans. A lot of people refer to them as a well-oiled machine. Diekman scorches one deep, and again it's going to be another comfortable clap catch in the end zone. Prunes picks up another goal in this game.
And it's another pinpoint, perfect deep shot. Clap catch in the end zone. And that all came from what must have been a well-practiced pull play. Side stack on this near side. Set everything up. So we get another look at it. As the disc was checked in, you see all of these German players near the camera. One isolation on the far side, and then Prunes takes off deep. And a perfect throw to finish off. Clean hold for the Germans. It's more like the offense we were expecting from them.
Yeah, so we were talking a little bit of smack earlier in the game, Lou, but it does seem like they're starting to clean up those deep options.
I think it was always going to happen eventually. It was such a strong start for the Czechs, but we knew Germany would warm up into this game. They certainly have the deeper roster, and not just because they brought more players. I think the top end of this Czech team is absolutely capable of giving Germany a fantastic game. If this was only 5, so.
Germans trying to use just about every part of it that they can. Big bid coming up empty. The Czechs able to hold on for now. Thinking about the launched deep shot, but holstering it. Levac has options, but struggling to get any serious separation downfield. And there's the step through block, fantastically done. Joanna Erdmann, second block of the game.
Stifling defense from Germany.
Now Krasnitsky walking to that sideline, and a J stack from the Germans. Call that a G stack, maybe?
Well, it's a bit further away than what the Japanese teams do.
Let's see what they're trying to get from it. Still that isolation cut off the start. Maybe trying to set up a deep look. Krasnitsky comes back around. And they get it to Erdmann. Erdmann down the line. Jay Satch was sneaking in there but couldn't get in time. Venderholm was able to make the grab. And now they drift across, leading pass. That was always asking an awful lot with how high the disc was going. But somehow Baumgart almost answered.
Well, he got a hand to it.
And wasting no time, absolutely sending another one all the way down the field is Levac, but collecting her third block of the game. Joanna Erdmann roasted her receiver.
I think Germany have fully switched on to what the Czechs are trying to do now.
Lieutenant Trautmann. And a nice cut from Stülert. So the Germans working well in the short space initially, at least. Krasnitsky down the line. Trautmann. Stülert, 2 defenders around him, still able to get big and collect. And not forcing the shot to the end zone, at least not initially. Now overshooting the first receiver, but rescued on the other end by the second. Tim Baumgart saving his blushes.
Yeah, great vision. That was definitely what he meant to do.
100%. Whatever happens, that's what I intended. These are all tactical turnovers up to this point. And that time I want to draw the defense in by making it look like I'm throwing it to the front of the cone. But in fact, see there, it looks like he looks off Baumgart's up the line cut, but in fact, he was simply waiting for his defender to try and poach, so it would be an easier reception. That's next level strategy. And if you want next level equipment, then you need to be using Eurodisc, organic discs in the best flight in windy conditions. Made in Germany, now also producing discs in the US and Australia. Eurodisc going international. They continue to insist on bringing you bringing streams to you with their support, and we are so grateful for it. As on this stream right now, Germany 2 points to the good, but the Czechs still in fighting form. Welcome back, everybody. The action is high flying, and we're not highfalutin. We're bringing this to you for free on YouTube. ULTI.TV. Czech Republic taking on Germany in the mixed division. You can see the Czech Republic switching a couple of D-line players over onto their O-line in response to the run that the Germans have been on. Limerick centers it back into the middle. Riznik. Sorry, that's I forgot he left his jersey at home. That was in fact Holub. And the defensive stalwart, Shinarova. So Holub goes for another blade over the top, really slicing and dicing apart this German zone right now. I would just keep reloading him. Trying to pass it back in the backfield, and there's an understandable foul called. Immediately uncontested by Tuck. They get it across, Jurasek. And Holub. Will he throw another flick blade? I hope so. Nope, but a lot of spin on that disc. You can just tell sometimes by the flight of a disc when someone can put a lot of snap into it. Another flick blade. No, a hammer over the top. But it's what they need to be throwing. The conditions are not that windy, Lou.
They're not, and this zone is giving space on the far side wings, and you'd expect the expansive Czechs to keep throwing these expansive throws.
Jurasek to the near sideline. Rivasova. So still just not forcing anything too adventurous. When the gap appears and there's the option for the blade, Jurasek is able to get that little bit of an ole, pulling the disc away from the diving defender. Limerick gets it across. Shinarova back to Holub, and Holub maybe thinking about a slightly more adventurous blade, keeping it simple for now. Limerick, Holub. But I like how the Czechs don't seem too rushed. That throw almost went out of bounds. Great guy by Shivnarova. And back to Holub. And Limerick. So just swinging it, losing a few yards, but still in a pretty comfortable position. Holub, he's the one who's really been carving apart this zone. But I think the Germans have kind of moved to crouch down a little bit more and limit those blades.
The Czechs are playing very patient offense, which is a little surprising after we saw those shots over the top. But it's working for them.
Jurasek back to Holub. And Holub thinks about the high release flick, and that time could have done with putting a little bit extra air on it, instead throwing it right into the path of Saskia Neubert. And the Germans quick to come back They were patient in their zone application. Förster with the disc. Will they be patient in their application of their possession now? Förster had a lot of time to wait before a defender showed up. And looking, collects, throws the assist for the score, and the Germans get another break on the board.
Well, it was looking good for the Czechs for a while, but ultimately they were not aggressive enough against this zone.
It was looking good for the Czechs, and there's good looking quite well himself, getting the catch and the finishing throw to Wiedenau.
Yeah, the Germans absolutely punished that mistake from the Czechs.
So 7-4, and this is a bit more of what we expected.
We knew the Germans would get there eventually. Interesting that was the first point they played zone all game. And, well, it seemed to work for them, although the Czechs looked good at the start. I think they just rested on their laurels a bit too much towards the end, got a bit too relaxed. You really need to keep that disc moving against zone defense to try and open up some holes. They were holding onto the disc for far too long.
I really liked Holub's blades, finding the space and just slapping them across, but then I feel like the German zone kind of switched a little bit, almost compressed a little to remove those opportunities, and then they were reluctant to go for the longer range ones.
Let's see if the Germans play it again.
Seems like they're going back to a bit of match for now. Poaching off ever so slightly. There's the arcing pass across to Levac. We know he's opened up a couple of big shots. Huge layout, but great bravery to hold on. Lichocka, a central handler for this Czech team. Able to stay on despite the bidding Tisson. Lichocka. A violation's been called. Weren't set downfield, it appears. So Levac and Lichocka working well together for now and resisting that German pressure. Lichocka tries to get it down the line to the waiting Zisnik, but couldn't get there in time. And now Hönschmeier. That was, I think you can see why he's slapping his thighs.
Yeah, that was not a good throw. Straight into the floor.
I probably wouldn't have been as direct as that, Lou, but I respect it. And a big shot by the Czechs. We were waiting for it. Levac is trying to measure it. He's got plenty of attention. Stühlert underneath. Goes with a bit of a backpack and an understandable foul call. Once again, though, just a quick shout out. Johanna Erdmann. The potential to pick up what I think would be her 4th block so far in this game.
Well, she had the best position by far. But then again, I do feel like there was a chance if Stühlert hadn't gone for the backpack.
I'd have to agree with Stühlert. Not Stühlert, sorry. I'd have to agree with the foul call that Stühlert definitely impeded Levac's ability to go after that disc.
Well, it was literally going up at the time of the contact.
You are entitled to the air above your head. So a crowd gathering to watch, and let's hear what they think.
Then you hit me in the back. But okay. If you think, yeah, retract it.
So it seems like the foul has been retracted by Levac, which is a very respectable call. They come over, they view it, and they agree. So he's going to let it go. I gotta say, I don't agree with that, but fair enough. I'm not out in the pitch.
Yeah, very well spirited.
And again, Erdmann with the disc in hand, like you said. Picked the right line. Read it better than anybody else out there on the pitch.
It counts as a block.
Fourth of the game. Tisson. Doesn't like Hernschmeyer in that position. So instead, gets the quick pop across and receives it once more. Going to work with Venderholm. Across Kishnitsky. Back to Venderholm. And that's a big gainer. Lavash tried to peel off to get the poach block on Tisson, but Tisson stayed brave. Stulot now with the disc, able to get it across to Venderholm in the middle of the pitch. And these are big gainers Venderholm is setting up. The timing on the cuts downfield is really impressive. Erdmann goes back to Venderholm again. Doesn't want the swing initially to Kishnitsky. Instead goes to Tisson. And passing to the end zone and the score. Is that a bookends? I believe it is. Johanna Erdmann, a truly impressive player across this field in this game and across Europe for quite a while now as well.
Well, that's 3 breaks in a row for Germany. They are fully warmed up into this game, and this is much more like we were expecting from the German mix side, punishing the Czechs for even the slightest mistake.
And something I was really impressed with was by the time they were able to recenter it back to Venderholm, they had reset their cutting downfield and doing a fantastic job of getting big, proper unders for significant gains. And I think part of that was the really effective deep shots that they started to do on the last few points. You have to respect those cuts going deep. Now the players are turning, coming back under, and making aggressive attacks at the disc for big gains. They recycle, they reset. By the time it winds up in Venderholm's hands back in the middle of the pitch, somebody else is looking straight at him for another 20 meters downfield. The Germans in full flight and full effect right now after a shaky start. They take half, 8-4.
Search for Hive Ultimate on YouTube to learn about our cutting edge strategies and to see analysis of world-class teams. To find out what Hive can do for your team, head over to our Patreon page where you can gain access to our exclusive drills and session plans and to join our worldwide community of coaches. Get ahead of the curve with Hive Ultimate.
We are a group of ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch.
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe, ULTI.TV, the best in the world.
Become a member and
fund
fund
our work to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the Ultimate world and beyond.
Welcome back as we bring you second half action in the mixed division in the final time slot on Monday at EUC 2023. Let's have a quick look at how that first half broke down. Lou, what stands out to you?
Well, of course, 5 breaks to Germany, 1 to Czech Republic. 1 is, to be honest, more than we were expecting. But Germany rallied back 5 breaks out of 10 opportunities. Not bad. Not perfect, but not bad.
Certainly refining it in the latter stages of the first half as well. That 4-point run from the 4-4 tie. Able to power them forward. So the Germans have scored in bunches. 2, then 2, then 4. So starting to really take control of this game. And really, I think a big part of that has been their ability to recognize and shut down the deep options of the Czech side.
Yeah, the Czechs were... And continue really for the entire game, just to punt it deep, look for their big targets. They had success with that early on, but the Germans are fully switched onto that now. There's no more surprises coming their way from this Czech offense.
Let's see if there can be a little bit of a surprise in this Czech defense as they come down to start the second half. And they are sprinting. Sent it into the middle. Metzger gets it down the line. Diekman back to Metzger. Diekman takes off. These Germans run hard for each other. That explains why they're able to get such big gains like that one. Förster throwing it to Preen. Preen back to Förster. And across to Metzger. That swing, so lethal. And again, just big gains every time someone's coming on and under. Hotze into the middle. Kuschol back to Metzger. Back to Kuschol. I think there's one player on the team pitch right now for Germany who hasn't touched the disc. Prinz to the side for the score, and nicely taken with a little bit of style by Jakob Diekman.
Nicely done from Germany. Their offense is really clicking now. You mentioned Diekman taking off at the start of that point. One of the things I really liked about his play at that point was it looked like he really wanted that deep shot, but when he recognized that the position just wasn't there, he cleared out to the far side, rested for a bit, and then let his teammates get on with the point. As we look here, this is a really nice little bit of play, punishing that buzz switch that was very, very loose, as Metzger immediately accelerated out of his throw to go up the line. And then when he saw that the switch was happening, just stood still in between the defenders, got it threaded through to him, and then just a nice, easy continuation to the break side for the score. Just like that Hive Ultimate video we made about punishing buzz switches a while ago.
Little plug for Hive Ultimate, and if you want to have enough agility on the pitch to be able to pull off successful buzz switches, which is one of my favorite things to do on defense. Of course, buzz switches when you're using the handler marks and you quickly switch responsibilities and assignments between each other. Well, the best way to do it is to play like you're not wearing cleats at all. Tokay, the only cleats are made specifically for Ultimate. Find them everywhere that you find Ultimate. So, I do think when you're playing really high-level opponents, like at the highest level of Ultimate, your whole defense should be about, can we create these 2-3 windows within this possession where there's a chance of getting a D? Because you can in no way guarantee one. This whole game's orientated towards the offense. And I think the Czechs did that. Batušek had a momentary chance there to lay out and get that block when that buzz was being pulled off. So, to me, that's still fairly successful given the caliber of your opponent. Fischer, stuck back in his own end zone against this German zone. Tries to float one down. Just have to escape the confines of our tent. Get a good view of what's going on. Fischer again with the disc. And that's a nice flick break across. A little bit of give-go. And taking their hands out of the cookie jar just in time to avoid the turnover. Riznik. Gets it to Lavac just about. Escaping the attentions of the German defense. And there's a big gain available almost immediately. Lihotzka. Steady as a rock with the disc in hand. Fischer, Riznik, doesn't want Lihotzka. And there seems to be the meld back to match defense. Huge layout bid. I think that was a little bit more of a drop, but an understandable one given the intense pressure coming in from Grete Luteman. So now Tisson picking up. There's the cut from Luteman and asking for a second layout in quick succession. There's an awful lot. This time the Germans just going to stick straight with the match defense as the Czechs got it going pretty quickly themselves. Fischer. Inside out backhand scoop. It's got enough float, being chased down, and fantastic defense again. Joanna Erdmann, I believe that makes it. I mean, there's going to be a call to discuss, but if this one is accepted, I think that would be 5 blocks in this game so far for her. And it seems like it's uncontested as well. Very fair-spirited. Lesalova took off with the advantage, with the speed of Erdmann just closing all the time. But Lesalova, great hunger for that disc to fight for it. Gets it back to Lihotzka. Fischer tries to get free, can't quite escape Stülert. Instead, they send it back to Lesalova. Lesalova gets it to Fischer. Fischer can't complete the play. Goes for a blade over across instead. Riznik shoots for the front corner of the end zone, and it's an incredible attempt.
Yeah, it looked like it was on the line from here, but that is the resolution on the field as well. Let's take a look. That's pretty clearly on the line.
Kutna just carried over ever so slightly. Very well spirited though immediately. It was like, yeah, that felt a little bit out of bounds, to be honest. And I do think Riznik would like that one back. As there's a big turnover right on the front corner.
He's going to get it back.
Big time block.
Absolutely savage point block.
One of those disc warpers, maybe. So Riznik, front corner. There's the isolation cut. Luteman doing a good job of shutting down the first option. But nice swing reset by the Czechs. They couldn't complete the move. Going back to the break side now. Waiting for it there was Levach. And Levach tries to air one out, but Tison's just going to shepherd it into the ground. And it would have taken something truly ethereal from Lihotska to bring that in.
That was an ambitious shot to the far side. And the Germans were well switched onto it, even if the disc did hang.
Hunchma.
Another point block maybe, let's see it.
Oh, and Riznik really wanted it, gets it to Tison instead. So that one pulled off securely. Tison gets it back, gets into the power position and unleashes one all the way down to Erdmann, one of the fastest players out here on this field. And Hunchma tries to make himself available. Really nice defense by Levach initially. There's going to be a bit of a discussion. Joanna Erdmann is something else.
She's having a phenomenal game.
Can't lie to you people at home, I'm not entirely sure what it is they're discussing.
0 hand signal so far. My guess would be there was some contact on the thrower.
We're back into the action. Erdmann able to get that one off, and it's a quick fire finish. The dump very quickly to Jonas Venderholm, and he finds Greta Luteman for the score.
It was Erdmann that did the hard part, as we said before. Follow your teammates, and you get to be the one with the glory.
Again, Stülert and Levach, a lot of respect between those two players. We saw them in that call earlier on, but very much understanding what they're both out here trying to do. As we have another look, Venderholm made himself immediately available and almost as immediately releases that to Greta Luteman. Speed with which the Germans are able to just get things rolling again is very impressive.
Yeah, they are one of the favorites for this tournament for the reason. And they're running away with this game now.
Is the reason love? You could let the reason be love.
Potentially. I think we need to quiz the Germans a bit more to get to the bottom of that.
About their team unity, well, we have plenty of chances to talk to them as the week goes on. It certainly looks like they are going to be competing deep into the end of July. Here comes the pull. And a fresh German D-line makes its way out there. We'll see how the Czechs respond. And it's with a massive deep shot that is initially just under-read, I think. Lada Dolozlova was in the space. The throw was actually quite accurate, but couldn't really measure it. And wound up watching it just go past her ever so slightly. That's a tough situation to be in, so Miriam Förster gets it back. The German D-line, they are really showing off their depth right now. They're different players. I like that switch, though. Czech's doing a good job of limiting the initial options. Swing across to the opposite sideline, Neubert. Down the line to Kuhn, sorry. And a big... Oh, I thought that was going to be a big grab, but there's going to be a conversation instead.
Germany did a great job to punish the poach from Verbsova, which is why the disc ended up on that far side and worked up so easily. She was poaching on the open side, on this near side, for most of that point. And despite trying to communicate some switches with her teammates, the Germans found some free passes down that far side as we take another look at this grab.
That's a very impressive grab by Holub. František Holub, who's also been quite... I've enjoyed it when he's been on the pitch so far in this game anyway. Those blade throws and a retraction. I think that's what Blekla is doing. Yep, it was a retraction, so Holub has the disc, and you can see the cuts coming from deep, but it does pull back two German defenders. That means there's a poach somewhere. The Czechs can take advantage of it. Germans still sitting deep defensively. And they launch it on the second chance. It's going to be a battle underneath. Looks like a great read, but a better touch. Justin Wallace gets the block. So looking. Back to Wallace. Back to looking. Looking already got an assist in this game. Neubert. Looking. And there's the reset. It was a bit of a risky one. They pull it off in the end. Kuhn. Back into the middle. Wallace and looking. With the dyed blonde hair. Tandem connecting. Well, I believe the term peroxide twins is already patent protected. Looking gets it to Blekla. Catches this one with the clap. Back to Looking. Looking tries to lead Blekla. That is a fantastic throw. Nice little jump in. And a score.
Well, good work from Germany. Neubert with the score. Really good work between the handlers to open up that space for the lead pass. A nice, well-timed cut in the end zone as well.
So the Czechs may be starting to run out of a little bit of gas.
So we take another look. Watch how Blechler accelerates out of the throw. And because the rest of the German offense is so far away, they left good space on that open side. No one's cutting under into it. He has all this space to run up the line. And a well-timed, well-executed cut for the score. The Czechs have yet to score this half. Second break in the row.
Blekla with his first assist of the game. So frequently you see teams try to pull off that play, but it gets disrupted by a poach. A leading pass up the line that close to the end zone is normally pretty well sniffed out by the people who are playing in the stack in the end zone, but something that the Germans do so well is keep it clean all the way down the pitch, so you have to respect your player and you don't get that opportunity to poach up.
Well, they had no one cutting in that space just before that play. That was the key. There was no opportunity for a defender to linger and make a play.
Maniak and Batušek. Back to Batušek. Goes for the breakthrough. That was not an easy catch by any means. But nicely done by Pinova. Maniak and Batušek again. Sitting at the focal point, hoping to stretch. Maybe pull apart the zone. Another nice little tasty throw over the top. This is Wild instead. Batušek, Maniak. Again looking for Batušek. Instead centers it into the middle. Waiting for it was Kotek. Maniak and Batušek. So they're happy to get these throws against the German zone, not really force too much.
Well, they did this last time, and this lack of aggression from the Czechs eventually caused a slightly lax throw that was easily picked off by a defender. So I'd like to see them play with a little bit more gusto, try and break through this zone with some more aggressive throws, some more aggressive movements, ideally from behind the disc forwards. They've got good spacing downfield, but as you see there, it's all well and good throwing through the front wall once, but you really need a follow-up after it to try and stay ahead of the zone. And here we go.
That was some really nice movement. Starting to involve everybody, taking advantage of the space. Saurova gets it back into the center, thinking about the scuba and turning it down. Go on, Kotek. Get a bit adventurous. Show us what you're working with. Manyak, Kotek, Patushak. Just goes back to Manyak instead. Somebody take on a little bit of a risk. Saurova, maybe? Scuba? Nope. Backhand dump pass? Backhand dump pass. Fair enough. Patushak gets the swing across to Kotek. And that one, Wallace was very close to sneaking in and getting the touch. I almost forgot the Germans were there on his defense for a while. They almost look like Czech shadows right now. But you can see the influence that they're having. It's a standoffish zone.
Well, it worked for them last time. As we said, they had a few moments of brilliance against that zone before playing way too passively and eventually throwing it away. And they're back to half field now.
Wild. It's back to Manyak and Batushak. So would you call this a passive-aggressive zone?
Passive-aggressive zone, I like that.
Manyak, Batushak.
Cheeky hop forward.
You could just take like a little extra step. There are gaps. People are about the limit of what they could stall you from, realistically. Wild, Batushak. Thinks that, come on, you've got it held like it's going to be a hammer. Manyak.
Do it for the fans.
Do it for everybody at home. Everyone in the Czech Republic is cheering for you. That was actually a really nice upline gainer to Pinova.
But again, no follow-up.
That's it. They can't quite get the timing right on it. Manyak. So the pass count ticks ever higher. And the opportunity for a mistake starts to creep in. Batushak.
Good give-go move, but there was no one on that far side to swing the disc to.
Pinova. And Wallace really trying to threaten on that force. Manyak thinks about a scuba briefly. He's able to get it down the line. Kotek. Wild. Oh, very, very close. Just outside of Kuhn's hands. Kotek. And there's the turnover. Wanted to throw to Wild, and you can see Manyak just kind of shrugging after all that work. That's when we screw it up. And as if to rub salt in the wound, Dominic Luking calls a timeout.
No, I mean, I like that timeout call. Germany want to secure this game. They don't want to mess about long, grindy points. They worked pretty hard in that zone. You know, their defense is draining in Ultimate, and even if you're playing zone, playing it for that long, it's a lot of focus. They just want to catch their breath, set up something on offense. They weren't ready to play offense, really. They just sort of got the turnover, picked it up, centered. So I do like this timeout call. But tragic from the Czechs. They were so close.
Will they be able to get it back? Remains to be seen as Germany 11-4 up and looking to make it 12.
Search for Hive Ultimate on YouTube to learn about our cutting-edge strategies and to see analysis of world-class teams. To find out what Hive can do for your team, head over to our Patreon page where you can gain access to our exclusive drills and session plans and to join our worldwide community of coaches. Get ahead of the curve with Hive Ultimate. So 11-4. Germany got the break chance after playing some fantastic zone defense. Although the Czechs almost punched in the score for their 5th point, but a bit of a miscommunication at that front corner of the end zone gave Germany the disc. They center it and immediately call a timeout. So that's how we got to this situation. Interesting setup from the Germans. They've got 5 players in a vertical stack in front of the disc and the reset immediately behind in the end zone. Baiting the Callahan, maybe? They're on offense.
Risky play. think this is about maybe clearing off enough space to get somebody in a power position to take a huck. Immediately they are going and working themselves to the sideline and the break side. There's a shot over the top. If that was intended, it was very visionary. And looking straight through the middle. Nicely done. And Förster with the disc. Germans off to the races. How quickly they made up all that distance. It probably took the Czechs about 3 minutes to get as far as the Germans just got in 3 passes. Förster, he got in the front of the stack from Blekler. There's the quick pop, and he's so effective in these spaces, not forcing anything. But you have to be aware of everything he's going to do. The quick pop for the score to Turk. And 12-4.
For such a big player, Blekler is fantastic in the small spaces. Great give-go technique, great pop pass technique. Harder than it looks to throw these short passes. I know we spend a lot of time throwing at practices, but throwing the short passes it's a different skill, really. Something you do need to deliberately practice. It's always a little bit tragic watching short pop passes be turned over, but if you don't practice them, that will happen. Well weighted into the end zone. And what a response from Germany after a sketchy start to this game. They are dominating this second half. Czechs yet to score.
That's his second assist for Marvin Blekler. And if you're looking from the outside, you think, yeah, hey, catches, he's a big, tall lad. He's going to catch a lot of discs just outside of the end zone and then get the easy pop in. But exactly what you were talking about. I just want to focus on that a little bit more. How many times have you seen people trip right in front of the finish line? The Czechs did it just themselves there. And something that Blekler is so efficient at is getting it in those positions and picking the right pass, faking so the defense remains uncomfortable the entire time, and then taking the 100% option. But so many people mistake the 80, the 70% option for a 100% one, or just panic and get that end zone eyes in that situation. He is an absolute assassin in the final meter, and that is a really underrated talent.
Yeah, he's having a phenomenal game.
I'd say at this point it's safe to say that about a lot of the Germans. Erdmann's still my personal MVP. Lavac has also had himself quite an impressive game for a Czech team that a lot of people would say outmanned and outgunned. But you can't out-heart them as they continue to fight late into this matchup. Down the line, Fischer. Fischer gets that to Riznik. Riznik down the line again. Oodles of pressure coming in all sorts of situations. Kutna. Lavac goes down the line. Kutna tries to find him, and I feel like in a closer game that's called out of bounds.
Well, it counts as a score. And that's the first point of the second half for the Czechs. Clean hold to boot. I don't think Germany will be too upset with that defensive effort. They came close. And they've probably taken their foot off the gas a little bit with a 12-4 lead. You can't really blame them.
That was better from the Czechs. I mean, it was all down that open side, really forcing the issue and forcing the disc into those tough spaces. Nice again as we have another look at it.
His knees were down, but hard to tell from this angle whether or not it was in.
The important thing, and the only thing that really matters, is the score is counted, and we don't want to take anything away from the incredible effort that he's been putting in all game long. 12-5, the Czechs able to get that first score of the second half and improve upon their scoreline against Ireland, which actually from when we were talking before the game to Shifnerova. I'm trying my best, guys. Rachel, if you're listening, I'm trying my best, I swear. Shifnerova saying she really enjoyed that Ireland game just because of the pace it was played at and the intensity, and that's why you want to play the best teams in Europe. You want to know what it's like at in this rarefied air.
I mean, it's a fantastic learning and growing experience for all the players at these events, especially from the smaller Ultimate communities. Of course, the Czechs have not the smallest of Ultimate communities. They're far smaller nations here, but still great for them.
Actually got mixed, probably the weakest division they're competing in, but they are competing in all 3 divisions. Their men's team currently playing against Italy on our other stream. Hagen with the long arcing pass to Kushol. Kushol sends it back to Hagen. Down the line to Valcek. Valcek opens one up, the arcing backhand perfectly weighted and finished off on the opposite side very comfortably, it has to be said, by Prunes.
Well, those were the types of deep shots that we saw from the German World Games team last year. Great to see it back out here on the German national team at EUC.
They make it look oh so simple, don't they?
Yeah, it's great to see Levka getting more involved in this game. She's been a little bit quiet compared to her usual self. Obviously putting in a massive shift last year for the German World Games team. Also Revolution from Medellin, Colombia, winning that WUCC title.
She's playing with Brute Squad as well at US Nationals.
Indeed, indeed. She has quite a few friends on that team, I believe.
Just traveling all over the world and playing at the highest level.
Oh, yeah.
Such a pleasure to get to watch her play. Cincinnati, Mesa, in San Diego, which I believe is where US Nationals was. And of course here in the University of Limerick.
Spike Ball Worlds as well. I think we forget that sometimes.
I think that's
As
by design. Not a real sport. No, I don't understand what irony is. As here come the Czechs. Hoping to get another score on the board. Research. Down the line to Fischer. Doesn't like his initial options. This is the backhand over the top. Riznik. Research makes the play down the line. Instead he goes to the swinging around. Lehotska. Lehotska, a real leader for this team. Rizach. Back across, so good end zone offense right now, not forcing anything, taking their time. Kanska gets it back to Lehotska. Lehotska. I thought Hornschmeyer was going to take off in that instant. Riznik's able to collect. Cut down the line, lots of people in the way, but Kanska got that. It is up indeed. And now on a bit of an island, forced to go for the adventurous backhand break. And then trying to slot it in for another score. Very nicely done by the Czech Republic.
That's another clean hold for the Czechs. Phenomenal effort on offense there. Germany not holding back. They came close on several occasions, but the Czechs were up to the task, not buckling under the pressure at all.
So we have another look at this up the line from Kanska. Fantastic grab. Just dealing with pressure coming from all sorts of situations. Kishnitsky, that's not the kind of inside backhand break you expect someone to throw.
That's a spicy look.
To the end zone. But a lovely around pass. Rizak able to get it to Kutna for the score.
Nicely done from the Czechs.
So 13-6. Another flawless hold. So both their scores in this half have been flawless offensive holds. And they had that one, was almost a flawless offensive hold against the zone. 67 passes. Unfortunately, turning it over as we have another look at Gabriela Kutna. 2 goals, 1 assist. Great force downfield, finding the right spots, and rarely making a mistake once she does receive the disc. So here comes Germany again, Kuhol. Kuhol. Oh, and that one might be a bit too far ahead. He was looking to get the pass to Hagen. Underthrew him. And here come the Czechs again.
Only the 4th turner of the game for the German O-line.
Wow. That is very impressive. Maniak. Looking for the front of end zone isolation. Couldn't get it to Wild, but Tushak was shot down by David Metzger, forcing the harder throw and the turnover. Tushak thought about poaching off there for a second, decided against it, and then winds up recovering back onto Diekman anyway. The Germans looking to fly down this pitch, and that one is well within the range of Hagen, and he collects it. Another clap catch, Huck collection.
I thought that was going to be a miscommunication as Lasse Hagen set off deep and then looked like they held up their cut for a second, but the throw went up. But Hagen runs it down anyway. So a good recovery from Germany, and they are 1 point away from the victory now.
And again, dialing in those deep shots for a lot of clap catches. Very few spectacular grabs by this German team.
Well, that's what they said they wanted to do coming into this game. Clean up their deep shots, and at the start of the game they were not firing, but towards the end they absolutely are. I mean, for me, that's been the real story of this game for Germany. They've cleaned up their offense so much, looking clinical towards the end of this game. Nicky Prien having a pretty good game so far, as is Hugin.
Perhaps
who we're actually looking at on the camera, not
yes.
Nicky Prien.
Easy to get those two mixed up. Similar hairstyles, I guess. Look, I can't point any fingers about getting people mixed up on the pitch. As the Czechs, not done yet. Fischer. Oh, and there's a bit of a touch on that one, and it bounces out, understandably, of Rusnac's hands. And now the Germans looking to finish this one off with a little bit of clinical end zone offense. Toussaint, Kuznitsky. Back to Toussaint. Good work with the stepped off, forced to stop the swing from being completed. Son then with a lovely leading pass directly into the path of Holzer. Back to Toussaint. Toussaint's so good at just handling the flow of the disc. Big break from Kuznitsky, and the hop in goal called by the Czechs, Joanna Erdmann. Who else?
Who else?
What a game from Erdmann.
Yeah, fantastic performance from her all game long. She's been all over the pitch, getting blocks, getting scores. And an emphatic victory for the Germans, just what we expected.
So understandable agreement from the German coaching staff.
Hiko Waldorf
coming over and just saying he agrees. Hard not to. Joanna Erdmann, absolutely stellar throughout that performance. I would personally give her 4 blocks. I know we haven't quite got that here indicated, but there was
at least 4.
At least 4. There was one that was called back as well. It could be 5, and there's another one. Just with their presence, you could probably give maybe as many as 6 or 7. Comprehensive performance from a comprehensive team. Germans look strong in every position, a threat across the board. Very surprised, perhaps, as a lot of people were, to see them go down so heavily at half to Ireland in the opening game. Maybe again to go down 2-0 at the start of this game to the Czechs, but I think that's a credit to the Czechs' heart and their ability to come out here and really just throw some big shots. Once the Germans worked out what was going on, similar against Ireland, they can adjust so effectively, change their shape, change their strategy, but keep that baseline of excellence and just punish teams.
Yeah, and from the Czech side, this was really a development tournament for them. As you said earlier, the mixed division is by far the weakest division represented by the Czech Republic, but just getting players out to these tournaments and getting them reps at championship games is hugely beneficial for the development of the sport in whichever country is being represented.
And not without any, it's not like they were without great performances themselves. I was impressed all game long with Levac. Thought he was absolutely brilliant. That's Jan Levac. As well as that Fischer, of course, the big target, Wojtek Fischer, down in the end zone. As well as Lichocka, unbowed throughout the matchup, making great plays, in Kutna as well, Gabriela Kutna, who was very impressive. And that's just a couple of them. As we can see here, quick look at the stats.
Yeah, 9 breaks from Germany. Fantastic defensive performance. Potentially the best D-line in the division. Well, they certainly look like that in this game. But 4 clean holds from the Czech Republic is an impressive stat. 4 of their 6 goals without turnovers.
And if you wouldn't really include it, but their 1 break as well. They didn't turn over on that time. They took 1 opportunity. So 5 of their 6 points without a turnover. And part of that is down to their incredible skill, and part of that is down to the fact that if you turn over against the Germans, you're probably not going to score. But they were adventurous early, expansive throughout, and unbowed they remain. You say this is a building tournament, it's a learning opportunity. Well, if you want to learn from the best. And there's been some fantastic plays from that team in the white jerseys as they fall to the power of Germany, 15-6.
Milan in the way for that replay.
So, a great game to end it with as we finish off our third day here at the tournament, our second full day, but there's still plenty of excitement to come. We've got full days of action. We will not be here at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Hallelujah! Because we will be giving these pitches a rest, but we will be here from 11 o'clock forward. You can keep your eye on the schedule as it is worked out later on this evening. We have got 4 slots tomorrow, plenty of action across those 8 games, and another 4 days after that too. So, on behalf of myself, Lorca Murray, the wonderful Lou Burgess, and our incredible ULTI.TV team and all the players here at the University of Limerick, I say thank you for joining us, and we will catch you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Merci beaucoup.
Yeah, Ultimate.
ULTI.TV.